All right, so you saw the headline.
Yeah.
Nigerians tear international passports, PVC, to protest rigging of 2023 election. Did you see the video that has been making the rounds now about how Nigerians are, both in diaspora and I think even within Nigeria, are tearing their international passport to protest the rigging of election by INEC, right?
Yes.
What's your reaction to this?
As far as I'm concerned, it's a short-fused commitment, because I believe these were the same people who were up in their numbers few months ago, kind of pushing for a new cause, pushing for a new Nigeria. Let's be factual here, irrespective of who we support individually, whether Asewaju, Atiku, or Obi. I don't think there's anybody who is not clamoring for anything positive, anything improved. We were here in this country when our students were at home for months, if not over a year. And that does not bring credit to anybody, irrespective of party line. We have experienced banditry, we have experienced terrorism, we have experienced kidnapping, and those criminals, they don't interview anybody to know whether you're of APC, PDP, or LP. So the point I'm trying to make is that if we have always expected a new level of life, a functional Nigeria with efficient healthcare system, our commitment should be patient. Our commitment should be realistic. So for somebody to pick up the international passport and say, "Oh, I do not have a hope in this country," funny enough, I've not seen any of those people. Okay, like you said, in both in diaspora, somebody must have turned the certificate, sorry, the passport, maybe somebody who lives abroad. I bet you they will always come back. They will always come back, because we don't have another country. So the anger, and I don't know, maybe family structures differ. So some of those people who thought their passports, they still have their loved ones here.
So
If your mother is, hello,
go ahead, I
yeah,
can hear you. Go ahead.
if your mother is in Nigeria and you have succeeded in leaving this country, maybe you have gone to Canada, you have gone to America, you have gone to UK, and you feel safe, that is selfishness. So even if you were in these countries when the election was on and you clamored for a particular party to win, if it doesn't win, that's not the reason to say you are going to tear your passport. Because if you are truly in Nigeria, we practice what extended family system. So I'm very certain, very, very certain that most of the people who destroy their passport in anger, their emotions can be vindicated, because what they expected, even the day Asiwaju was given the certificate of return and he was making his acceptance speech, I heard him saying that some people are disappointed right now because their candidates were not standing where he was standing. So he acknowledged the anger, the kind of anger or envy or disappointment that can spring up at a time like this. But coming back to the subject matter, I don't think anybody who thought the international passport as a way of ending an affiliation with the country called Nigeria has achieved anything. That is my opinion.
So if I get you right, you are against it. You are not in support of tearing the international
Of
passport to
course,
protest.
of course.
But wouldn't you say, because if you consider it, a lot of people put in a lot of sacrifice for these elections. A lot of people flew in from abroad into Nigeria to come and vote. And a lot of young voters actually took the pain, they took the time to register for this election with the assurances that INEC gave that this election was going to be free and fair. In fact, Wednesday before February 25, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu was on TV actually still giving assurances that elections were going to be transmitted live from the polling unit to the IREV. He gave those assurances. The police and other security agencies gave assurances that they were not going to allow hoodlums to disrupt the elections. Even President Muhammadu Buhari was on TV saying that he is not going to allow any thugs to disrupt the elections. So there were a lot of promises, and particularly because of the Electoral Act 2022, right? It gave a lot of people hope that this election was going to be different. So a lot of people invested their time, their emotions, their energy, their money into voting. And then fast forward to today, after the presidential and the governorship elections, we saw what happened. That, in fact, the soldiers that were rolled into Lagos, that when everybody saw them, people were rejoicing that it will mean that those soldiers will stop thugs from disrupting elections. We didn't see those soldiers, and the thugs had the field day, right? And we saw the elections the way they went. INEC went against their own guidelines. INEC disobeyed the Electoral Act, and all the stuff that happened. Do you think that with all this that happened, there's no legitimate ground for somebody to be so aggrieved to tear his international passport and say that there's no hope for Nigeria?
What I'm saying is this. We have seen parents take their children to the hospital, and there could be assurances. Let's use teaching hospital as a yardstick here. Maybe you believe that the teaching hospital will be of help professionally. Diagnosis, they give you assurance, oh, something positive will come out of it. In other words, the expertise they were putting in would end such diseases. Even though they are giving you these assurances as professionals, then all of a sudden you discover that there's no improvement. And when you get home, do you abandon the sick? You keep on pushing. I'm not being a motivational speaker here. I'm only saying that most of these people who came into the system with this commitment, they came in a rush. Yes. I remember in this country 4 or 5 years ago, 8 years ago, they used to beg people to come and do registration. Get their PVC. It got to a point, just like you said, a lot of people believe that, oh, our votes don't count. So all of a sudden, there was this renewed hope that our vote will count. You understand? Then I want to believe that whosoever went through that stressful process of PVC registration, collection, commitment into the voting, meant well to contribute a part to see the emergence of a glorious Nigeria. Like I said, I'm not speaking in line of any party system. I'm only talking about the generality of Nigerians who believe that things should improve. Even the president-elect today is, if you check his manifesto, the caption is renewed hope. So the interpretation of that message, that caption, shows that he is expecting something new to happen. In other words, everybody, APC, PDP, Labour Party members, New Nigerian People's Party, everyone is expecting something new, something systematic, something appreciable in terms of good governance. So coming back to your question, I insist that let's assume that majority of the people who are tearing their passports today are of the opposition. Labour Party is just 8 months. Why not renew your effort and see what happens next? Because
go ahead.
I don't know if I should say this or wait. I don't know if I should say this or wait for your next question, which may go in that direction. Permit me to say something a bit contradictory here. In as much as we're expecting a new president to come and lay down a new template or with the moral power to show the way. I've been saying this all the time, that the man, whosoever it is, in Aso Rock is only one person. And let me explain. Just this afternoon, I got to a particular junction. I was driving and I saw a young guy parked his car at the junction, comfortably making call. Cars were hooting horn. Pa, 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 pa. The guy, instead of apologizing, the guy was doing waka shege to us. He was making call at the middle of the road.
In the middle of the
Now,
road.
that is just one of them. You know what? At the middle, right at the middle of the road, a junction. I was supposed to drive into that particular junction where he blocked. This is the same person who could possibly pick his passport tomorrow and tear his passport and tell you that Nigeria is not working. What is my point? Rather than tearing your passport, right where you are, I ask you today, what are you doing in actual sense to make the next man feel the patriotism of brotherhood as a countryman? No tribe, no party concern, no religious attachment, just humanity. My point is this: we all have roles to play when it comes to betting new Nigeria. So rather tearing your passport, stay put right from family to offices to system, any environment you find me, because we have come to form an opinion that it has to be criticism. You have to bully someone, you have to curse someone, you have to make everybody, even during the process, they admitted it. But let's narrow the discussion to your question now, rather than tearing your passport. You understand? I don't know if I've told you this, that my
Oh, it's like we lost you there. Okay, it's like we lost him there. I guess he will reconnect again. So you heard him. Those people who are tearing passports, the message is simple and clear from Ebere. Ebere is the CEO of Lifeline 24, and he's been talking about, he's giving his opinion about how people should not tear their international passport or destroy their PVCs to protest. There's a particular video I'd also like you to watch. And let's watch this video. It's about let me just get the video for you. It's a video by okay, yeah, I think it's back now. I think it's getting back. You never sit on the seat. Okay. Okay, you are back. Can you hear me
yes,
now? Hello?
yes, hello,
Yeah, so
yes,
you
I
were
can hear
telling
you.
us, yeah, do you remember where you left off and do you want to continue from there?
Okay, no, I was okay. I have already told you the story of the young man that blocked the road, who did anything wrong in uh,
Yes.
messing up the time and the safety of other citizens. I'm sure he has a political party he's attached to. He can insult anybody, both the sitting, both those who are present or those who will come in. I'm only saying that gradually, anytime we take this discussion in this direction, people don't agree. But I keep telling them that the police officers who were accused of corruption today, they are product of families, they are product of systems. If we frown at them at our level, they won't have a space to flourish. Whosoever we feel is not doing what is supposed to do today, both in governance, they are coming from a system. Look at the local government down to the councillors and local government chairmen, or the governors, or the House of Rep and all that. They were once as common as all of us, mingling together, doing businesses together, schooling together. Once they get there, most of them who are corrupt, they are of some people who are criticizing governments today and who we still criticize, who feel so justified and claim to be different, give them the same position. So back to what you asked me, I will suggest that whatever you can do as an individual, if you know that your commitment is of neutral interest, that is to say, you just want a functional Nigeria, it is not the time to detach yourself in such embarrassing manner. You don't have another country. Tearing that passport will not make Ghana adopt you. That is the truth. It will not make South Africa adopt you. It will not make the United Kingdom adopt you. It is
But
your identity.
at least it will do something. You know, the whole idea of this tearing of international passport thing, I think it's an attempt to protest, to shame the organizers of the elections, shame INEC, shame the APC, the people who have been declared winner, shame the police, the security agencies, to make them feel bad for what they did. So if you are suggesting now that they should not tear their international passport, what would you advise that they do to make those people responsible for this rigging to feel some pain or show some remorse? Because right now there's no remorse coming from anywhere, and that's angering people. You know, INEC is saying that everything went well. You had the likes of Ayo Fayoshe coming out to say that the election was peaceful, it was free and fair. The APC people are maintaining that everything went well. INEC is saying everything went well. The police is saying everything went well. And so these people feel pained. They feel aggrieved. So, and that is what is informing their tearing of international passport and all that. So if you are saying that tearing the international passport or destroying their PVC is not a solution, what would you advise that they do so that the people responsible for the rigging would at least show some remorse, will feel some pain?
Okay, I don't mean to repeat myself, but the law does not entertain emotions. At least I have a basic knowledge of it. It doesn't entertain emotions. That is number one. Number two, as you're asking the question, you use the word rigging. Everybody is heading to court until the processes are proven by the court to have been rigged. So I will rather fall back to the evidential pockets of violence we saw. For whatever reason, and whosoever feel it was an entitlement to be favored. We saw the woman in Lagos who was stabbed multiple times because she came out to vote. We do not know why she was stabbed, whether she came out to vote for no, what I mean, we do not know if she was stabbed by a particular party for her trying to vote for another party. But are you there?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay. What we are saying is that we saw the violence there, we saw this. But there's what we call cause and effect. Let me derail a little. Since 1999, we had PDP dominantly in 1999. It was almost a cruise. In 2003, we only had President Muhammad Buhari then trying to put up a strong opposition. Somebody like Ahmed Bola Tinubu then too, he was never a member of PDP, but to an extent, the party he piloted then didn't put a strong opposition at the presidential at the presidential election platform. So it was majorly NPP then and later CPC putting up a strong challenge at that level. But what's my point? In 1999, it was Olusegun Obasanjo and Olufalaye. It was all southwestern affairs, and we knew why then, because it looked like a kind of compensation to douse the tension of 1993 June 12th. So in 2023, sorry, in 2003, the opposition was very, very minimal because we already have a consolidated PDP government that um, just they were yelling and shouting continuity, continuity, and it was a cruise. Then in 2007, PDP continued. The northern president, in the person of Umaru Musa Yar'Adua of blessed memory, came into power. And there was still that sequence of almost a dominant one-party system, even though I have mentioned that we had few strikes of opposition here and there. But what am I saying? From a southwesterner to a northerner, then Providence and nature struck. We lost that president, who we have come to appreciate today. That is one thing in Nigeria, where we insulted him and called him Baba Gosla and everything. But today we have something to miss him about, because he set some legacies that connected conscience, humanity, good governance, and prospects. Unfortunately, death wouldn't let him be. Then from nowhere, there was an upturn when we have a man from minority. With due respect to my brothers down there, but talking about um, demographical density, I think Bayelsa had about 8 or 9 local governments. But because a lot of people came out together, a lot of Nigerians said, "Oh, we're going to support this man." Talking about Goodluck Ebere Jonathan, he became the president. But why am I giving you this narrative? For the first time, then in 2015, Buhari came, because of his integrity, his long-standing strength when it comes to professing and projecting what integrity should be in governance. A lot of people behind him. 2019, of course, we have known that when a president elected in Nigeria, it's always a norm, a likelihood that the person will return for the second time. But why did I give you this breakdown? For the first time in a long time, especially under this democracy, we had an election that was more or less divided across tribal lines. It has never been like this. And apart from is it 1999 or 2003, let me not misquote myself, when Chukwemeka Odumegwu was on the ballot for what people just saw as a formality, because after he reconciled with the federal government, it was like a way of telling the federal government that, hey, I'm back to Nigeria. He contested. I respect him a lot. And now, for the first time, a man from the Southeast was on the ballot. And it came with a different wave, mindset, and everything. Then we have somebody from the North in the person of Atiku, and from the West. Permit me to say this clearly, without missing words, that it became more of a tribal thing. It was a triangle sequence. That election was a triangle sequence of North, East, and West, the major tribes in Nigeria. So connecting this back to the question, the intimidations, the violence, and everything we experienced was more like a tribal thing than a partisan thing. So, conclusively to that question, emotions overran realities and the reasons. So, and I'm sure I'm not defending them. Even the law enforcement agents were overwhelmed. And if I should end on that note, is it only
Sorry, before
puts
you
a
end,
question
on
up.
that note, sorry, before you end, you really think that the law enforcement were overwhelmed?
Yes, because in the eyes of the law, like I have said, I don't mean to contradict myself, emotions are not entertained. But when temperature of the atmosphere became unpredictably riddled by tribalism, it called for caution. Do you understand? For instance, I'm very certain that if a police officer from the northern extraction had tried to discipline someone for whatever reason somewhere in the southeast, then he would be accused, okay, his brothers have sent him to do this. And if a police officer who is an Igbo had disciplined a violator of law, maybe who is from the southwest, he could have been accused that, he's doing that to defend his brother. So realistically, a lot of emotions went into that election because of the tribal sentiments.
But don't you think that
It's not an
don't you
excuse for the
no, no,
violence. I'm not denying it.
there are
Conclusively, what I'm saying is this: it put a question mark on the reality or the sincerity of our unity as a nation.
I'm bringing Toyosi into the show now so that she can also give us her opinion. Toyosi, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Good evening, Mr.
Okay.
Ben. Good evening, Mr. Berry.
Good evening.
Okay. All right. Toyosi, we are talking about the fact that Nigerians are tearing their international passports and PVCs to protest the rigging of the 2023 election. Rigging, quote unquote, now, because from what Ebiri has said so far, he's saying that rigging can only be determined by the courts. And until the courts make a pronouncement, you really can't say there was a rigging. That's what he says. So, but right
Is he
now,
playing?
marry that with the fact that Nigerians are tearing their international passports and PVCs to protest the 2023 election. How do you react to that?
How can Mr. Berry say it is only court that can judge that the election was rigged? Why will you even say that? Are you playing?
Sequel to that, I said that the court does not entertain emotions. That is only the
What is the
court
emotion there?
we study the. I hope you know when we say rigged, I expected him to say allegedly rigged.
There's nothing like
It's a better
allegedly.
language.
There are evidences, video evidences, picture evidences. Like, it's glaring, it's there. In fact, channel news, they uploaded it on their channel. So there's nothing hidden there. There's nothing like alleged. It's
Okay,
not a
fine.
purported news. It was glaring like this. People
Okay, fine.
circulated it throughout.
Sorry, Toyosi, sorry to butt in there. What is rigging? Let's
I
start
think
with okay, ladies
okay.
first. What is
No,
rigging?
no. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, Ebere, what is rigging?
Rigging means a confirmed violation of the laid down electoral processes through deliberate violence. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, through deliberate violence or manipulation in favor of a candidate or a party.
Okay.
My definition might
No
not
carry on so well,
represent.
no. This on English don't too much. Come down to a layman term now.
No. So I think I understand him. He's saying that a deliberate manipulation of the electoral process to favor a particular political party or a candidate. That's what you just said now.
Yes.
Am I correct, Iberi?
Yes, you heard correctly.
Okay, fine. Now, Toyosi, before I respond to him, or before you respond to him, what is your own definition of rigging, Toyosi? Toyosi, are you with us? It will appear as if Toyosi has frozen. Are you with us, Toyosi?
Yes, my internet went off, so I'm back.
Okay, so what is your own definition of rigging?
Manipulation of results of problem of an election, changing it, a dishonest way of changing something.
Okay, so if it's changing of results, that means the violence that went on in the polling units, that's not rigging then?
You said what?
If it is manipulation of results that is rigging, that means the violence that took place at the polling unit, that is not rigging. From your definition now.
No, the violence aided the manipulation. It was the violence that brought about the rigging. The violence was used as a tool to rig it. So it's part of it.
Okay. All right. No problem. So what is your reaction to Nigerians that are saying that are tearing their international passports, PVCs, to protect the rigging of the 2023? Alleged rigging. I think we should use that word, really, alleged, because right now it has not been proven. And until it's proven, it's still alleged. All right. Even though the evidence is clear for us to see, we have seen on the IREV portal, we have seen results that were uploaded that were TPEXed, that were clearly different from the ones that polling unit agents took with their phones. We have seen that. And then we have seen where photographs of human beings were uploaded onto the IREV portal as election results. And
in fact, they uploaded some state result on another state.
So those were clear evidences of manipulation or going against the guidelines. And in your own
of results too.
Good. So that would be rigging. But let's still just use the word alleged rigging now, because until the courts make a pronouncement, we cannot actually say with definition that it is rigging. So, Toyosi, what is your reaction to Nigerians tearing their international passports to protest the rigging, alleged rigging? Sorry. Yeah, we can hear you. Hello, Toyosi, can you hear us?
Please, can you take that again? My network is misbehaving.
Your network in your area is very horrible. Though. People who are in Port Harcourt are having very good network. It is you that is in Abuja that is now having horrible network. Are we saying that Port Harcourt is more alive than Abuja? Is that what we are saying?
Yes, now that's Wike's place. And you know Wike is the right-hand man of President Tinubu. So anything can happen.
Okay, so my question was, what is your reaction to Nigerians that are tearing their international passports and destroying their PVCs to protest the alleged rigging of the 2023 elections in Nigeria?
Honestly, so funny. I think I don't want to use the word foolish. But please, can you help me look for a word that is closer to foolish in a subtle way that will not seem insulting to people? Because honestly, that's not the right thing to do.
Why is it not the right thing to do? Why? If they have given up hope, they have invested so much time, they have invested so much energy, in fact, so much money, and they have had their hopes lifted and just dashed like that out of their anger and grievances. Don't they have a right to tear the international passport, to protest, to show their despair in the system?
No, now let me get people who are tearing their passport. Is it the ones in Nigeria that are tearing their passports, or the ones in diaspora
I think we
tearing
have
their
a
passports?
combination of both of them. We have a combination of both of them, both the ones in Nigeria and the ones that are in diaspora.
Well, to me, still, I will still maintain that I think it's not a good idea. I understand their grievances. I understand they are angry. They were not satisfied with the election results. Fine, but there are better ways to really address and express that, not by telling their international passports. So what if Nigeria becomes better and you needed to go out for vacation? So how will you get your passport back? You don't start spending money all over again. No, that's not a good idea. They can there are ways they can, express their anger, probably a peaceful protest, or they petition the police, or have a video recording where they can express their grievance, upload it online. It flies. Internet is very, very fast and is worldwide. So people will get to see it. This theory of international passport, me, I do not subscribe to it. I do not. Breaking of PVC. So how would you vote the next time? That means you're telling the people that are there that you are giving them more power to remain there. So next time, if you're going to vote, where will you get PVC to vote them out? So I don't
Let's
think
let's come back to Ebere. Ebere, are you still with us?
He's beginning
Yes,
to
I'm here.
sleep. I can see his face.
Ebere, you're feeling sleepy. Okay, all right. Let me end this.
No,
Hello?
no, I'm not. I'm here.
Okay.
I'm
All
here.
right.
I can hear you.
So I think she's kind of agreeing with you that it's not a wise decision to actually tear the international passport or destroy PVC in protest of the alleged rigging. All right. So I asked you earlier about what can be done, because right now the anger is that those who are responsible for the rigging are not moved. They are not showing any remorse. Tinubu is calling for Tinubu is calling for a government of national competence. Meanwhile, his campaign members are busy making very caustic, very divisive statements on Twitter and every media outlet out there, dividing Nigerians, further putting salt to injury that people already are feeling about the rigging. So what would you say about this?
I've always said this, and I'm going to, yes, I'm saying this boldly. Nobody, you have the right to, irrespective of who you have supported before now. I've always asked people, how did we get here? How exactly did we get here? Don't be used by any politician. It doesn't matter who he is. How did we get to this point? So nobody should just wake up and all of a sudden claim to be a saint. That's what I was telling you about the issue of this passport. If we are really committed to fixing this country, our commitment must be patient. You understand? Our commitment must be patient. There are things people do out of immaturity, out of sentiments, and I laugh at them. And it's not a time to deny reality. Whoever is going to be the next president of this country, if it is going to be decided by the court, must understand that sentiments and denial of reality is not going to get us anywhere. Because one of the problems of Africa, not just Nigeria, is that we spiritually, when you ask an average Nigerian about a situation, they will tell you, oh, is well. What is well? Mosquito, they bite you, we say mosquito, they bite you. And if it bites you like 3-4 days, you will catch malaria. So how far with your area mosquito there? If you have fleet, give me, let me kill the mosquito. I'm using this basic stuff. So what I'm trying to say is that nobody, if you I've always told them that, look, if you plant divisive statements or violence, it's like selling fake drugs in Lagos. Then a chemist from Sokoto will come and buy it, and your cousin who is in the university there or working there or is a copper or is a traveler will buy the same drug and then possibly take it and die. So if we stoke the ember of violence further for whatever reason through these statements, collectively we won't be safe. There is a process, like Toyosi said, rather than tearing this passport, I'm taking us back there. Why not through a peaceful protest? This is a learned generation. You can make an intelligent contribution, observation, analysis, projections, and even predictions without necessarily spewing violence. If we accuse people of thuggery during the last election, we shouldn't exhibit one right now. I don't know if I answered it.
Okay, you answered it. Your answer was pretty quite straightforward. People should take to very mature ways to vent their grievances, which is also similar to what Toyosi also mentioned. So, but going forward now, how do we fix Nigeria? Because whether we like it or not, May 29th, there's going to be an inauguration. And regardless of the fact that Peter Obi has gone to the Election Petition Tribunal, the case can go on for as much as 180 days maximum. That's what's provided for by law. So that's 6 months. And while the case is ongoing, the president-elect would have been sworn in by May 29th, right? So what should Nigerians do? Because things are hard already as it is. And it is looking like things are going to get a little harder. Because right now, they are telling us that fuel subsidy is going to be removed from June this year, which is just like the next 2 or 3 days after the swearing in. And Tinubu did not hide it. During the campaign trail, he made it clear that no matter the protest, he was going to remove fuel subsidy. He made it clear. Right now, one pure water is selling for 30 naira. They sell it 2 for 15 naira right now. So by the time they remove fuel subsidy, the stakeholders in the oil industry are saying that Nigerians should get ready to pay 750 naira per liter for petrol. All right?
When we have crude oil.
This is going to be on top of the already hard conditions of living. How do we move forward? Toyosi.
It's a very difficult question. Because even me, I'm asking myself this question, that how do we move forward? Honestly, I really don't know. I don't know. I don't know how we're going to move forward from this, honestly. I don't know.
Okay, Mary, let's get to you very quickly.
On the question.
Yes.
I have always made my opinion known on Nigerian economy. Nigeria is not poor. Nigeria is not poor. It's just that since 1958 that we discovered crude oil in commercial quantity in Olobiri, the old river state, we abandoned all viable alternatives. 60% of arable land in the whole world, 60%, is domiciled in Africa, dominantly in Nigeria. Ajokuta is there. We see what South Korea is doing because of their steel. Our gold is there untapped. Now, coming back to having that arable land, other countries like even America are surviving on GMOs, genetically modified organisms, and we know the health implications of GMOs because they can alter the body system when you consume fruits. But right here, you don't need fertilizers to grow crops in Nigeria. That is the truth. If coming back to summarize my answer to your question. Moving forward is diversification. The unemployment indices that is skyrocketing today, once you industrialize this country, graduates will have something to do. So diversification. I hope you know that 2 or 3 days ago, the European countries agreed that by 2035, they will phase out 95% of combustion engines. So this crude, and more crude will be narrowed down to aviation and other light equipment, maybe tractors and farm equipment and all that. In other words, it's not going to be business as usual. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Good. You can see me now. This house is running. They just restored power a few minutes ago. It was running on solar. Countries like Germany is going green. So if we diversify, the effect of that subsidy will not be much. Remember that we can't be contradicting ourselves the same time. We have said that this subsidy has been pampered for too long. Let's know where these irrational expenditures are coming from. It's just that it's happening at a time because of the Russian war and everything. The inflation, because of our dollar exchange, has become something unbearable. Yes, we have to admit that. Now, it brings us back to another option. Having a single refinery, when I mean single refinery, I'm referring to the Dangote refinery. If we can have two other additional refineries, it means that while we, even if we remove the subsidy, if we can refine what we consume in Nigeria, the pressure on our foreign exchange will drop. Because once the pressure on the foreign exchange drops, it means that other things we consume, the prices will drop. The reason we are feeling this impact is that as we are going to be buying that fuel for 700 and something naira, we are also buying toothpick, very expensive. We are buying every other thing quite expensive because we have been importing and consuming. So let me summarize my answer by telling you that the next government must be committed to productive diversification